Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Legacy FC Featherweight champion, Damon Jackson. Damon, how are you?
Doing good, man. How are you? It sounded good. I like the intro.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Damon, all I can say is wow. What a performance last Friday against Leonard Garcia. That's all I can really say about the performance. It was such a dominant win for you. First, how does it feel to become featherweight champion? And second, how pleased are you with your performance in the fight?
It feels awesome just because that was one of the goals I had set. Right after I first made my pro debut, I set that goal to be the Legacy. I was actually going to be the lightweight champion, and I decided to make the cut down to 45, and everything's been working out great. So, it feels great to win that title because that's a goal I set from the beginning. And then, the performance itself, it kind of shocked me. I was, expecting more from Leonard's takedown defense. I didn't think the takedown would come that early. So I knew once I got to the ground that, I could, I would have have the control I needed to either finish the fight or, keep it on the ground and avoid his striking. So it just means a lot to get that title. And then it was honestly just shocking to me also for the win, the way it came.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people out there leading up to the fight thought, well, the way for Damon to win this fight is to get it to the ground, and the way for Leonard to win the fight is to keep the fight standing. A lot of people thought that, he would have a high percentage of landing and then putting you out if you go in there and close the distance. And the first time you went there and closed the distance and got your hands on him, you took him down to the ground. Did you expect to get him down there? Did you expect it to be so easy to take him down?
I had seen people take him down in the past, and, really he didn't put up a lot of defense to it. I thought he would game plan a little harder for me just because, that's been my strong point for all my fights has been taking people to the ground or getting the fight to the ground. So I honestly thought his takedown defense was going to be a little higher. And as soon as the referee said go, I saw his left hand was just real fidgety, so I could tell he was going to throw either that big jab or throw a hook. So as soon as I saw that hook, I just level changed, and he didn't even attempt to sprawl. He just kind of gave me his hip. So I took the body lock, and I saw that left hand coming though as soon as the referee said go.
Mm-hmm. Did you expect more resistance on the ground? Because once you got him there, you really could do whatever you wanted to do.
He's had problems, if someone is stronger or bigger for the weight class, he's definitely had problems, with Matt Grice and, so I remember who, Mike Brown, he's had problems in the past with, a strong wrestler on top, so I knew that, I could control him on top, but, I definitely thought the fight was going to be a lot different, especially I thought he was going to be getting on top of his jiu-jitsu game and, his wrestling game, and, I just felt like once I got to the ground, it was shocking to me just the way he came. He just didn't feel like he was prepared for the fight, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Was there a game plan going into the fight? Because obviously, you're great on the ground, and that's where he's deficient. And obviously, he's a stand-up guy, so he wants to, put on a good show for the fans and knock you guys out. So you wanted to get to the ground, and he wanted to stay standing up. Was there really a game plan going into the fight, or was it just, I'm good at what I do, and you're good at what you do, which is so you can impose who's well?
Because I felt strongly in my wrestling for this fight, because the way he does come from different angles, that you can't prepare for the way he fights. It's really hard to get training partners in there coming at the same angles that he throws. Because some of the guys have been fighting forever. He knows what he's doing, so when he gets out there, he can really confuse a lot of people. With the things that he does, just so his movements, and then just coming from all different angles. So, I would say, the way he came out with that when he threw that lead hand so wide, it just really opened up for the takedown. But the game plan was forward pressure and shut down anything that he was throwing. Like if it was his kicks, I was either gonna step in, and take him down, or step in and throw a straight right, just trying to shut everything down early. And whatever he came out with, just the forward pressure and shutting it down was a game plan.
Mm-hmm. Back at Legacy FC 29, Leonard Garcia was supposed to fight Shane Howell. That was back in March. He had something happen with Shane Howe. He fell ill or something before the fight, and the bout was scrapped. Is it true that you were upset about this? Like, were you upset that Legacy didn't give you the call? Is this true? Because I heard that rumor.
Yeah, it was definitely 100% true. Because and he already had the fight lined up. I had once I found out he was fighting Aguilar, I had already had the Hunter Tucker fight lined up. So it was too late for me to say anything about that. So I missed out on that shot. And then he had the fight lined up with Shane Howe. He had finished the fight with Kevin, and then I had my fight, and he had already had another fight lined up before I was released or anything, or before my fight was over. So he had 2 fights lined up while I had already was contracted with the fight. So it was definitely frustrating just to miss out on those opportunities, but by a few weeks or a month or whatever it was. And then that night, Shane Howe said that he had got some, maybe he had eaten something or whatever it was, that he had felt extremely ill, and he looked pretty bad. But I told him I would step in and fight him, and Mick just didn't like the idea just because it was it would have been on the same day notice. I drove up that day for the fight, and he just didn't like the idea of it. And I was definitely frustrating, but I tried to step in after Shane got sick.
Mm-hmm. Was there any bad blood going into the fight, or any like did you have a chip on your shoulder going into this fight because you wanted this fight for a long time? Did you feel that you had to prove something in this one?
Not really. No, there's no bad blood at all. I mean, okay. Leonard, class A. The guy is awesome. I mean, before the fight, he comes up to me and says a prayer with me before the fight. So and that was all on him. He's the one that came and approached me. I didn't. There's no ill will at all, and it wasn't like I was trying to take Leonard out. I just want to fight the best guys outside the UFC or outside, the highest level of guys I can fight. And I know that. He's got the biggest name right now outside the UFC at featherweight, and he's also one of the toughest guys. He's put on some of the best fights in the sport. So I definitely wanted to test my skills against him. But, not wanting to really prove myself as a striker or anything like that. I just wanted to fight him and, fight the toughest guys and take the fight wherever it goes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, how does it feel to have that Legacy belt? Obviously, you've tried to, you said you wanted to make a run at lightweight, but you decided to drop to featherweight. Now, to actually have it, what was the moment like when Mick Maynard's wrapping the championship belt around your waist? Just the biggest win of your career, and to top it all off, you got the belt as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome just fighting him and fighting a guy like him, just class act, and just the guy's been around forever. He's, helped build the sport. So fighting someone like him and then beating him is surreal, just completely unreal. It still hasn't 100% soaking in with the title and everything. Honestly, whenever he was putting the belts around me, I completely forgot about the belt. I had, not even thought about it really going into the fight. It was more about preparing for Leonard and making sure that I was ready to go for the fight. Mm-hmm. And then once he put the belt around me, everything kind of slowly started clicking. But it still hasn't hit me 100% yet, but it definitely feels great.
Mm-hmm. Now, Legacy is like a unofficial feeder to the UFC. They're like a unofficial AAA team to the UFC. So having that belt is a very big deal. And then beating the guy that you beat to get it, Leonard Garcia, a veteran, been around for a very long time. It's a very good win for you. What means more, the win over Garcia, a guy who's been around the sport for a very long time, or having that belt, which, potentially is one step closer to getting to the ultimate goal?
I mean, it's a little bit of mix, because it's goals that I set, and then getting opportunities when they're given to me. And whenever I received the opportunity to fight for the title, that meant a lot. And then really just I want to fight the best guys out there. And Leonard's one of those guys that he was just there. It was an opportunity for me to fight, and so I took it. And I definitely. It's kind of a mix. Honestly, I can't tell you which one I liked better, but fighting Leonard was great. But having that belt means a lot, just because that's a goal I set. So, I want to accomplish those goals this year for 2014, and it feels great to have both of them.
Joe Silva, Sean Shelby, the matchmakers at UFC, they work fast, and especially when someone fights well on Access TV, they're usually giving them a call. Have you heard anything from them? Have you heard anything from your manager?
No, I mean, just manager called me afterwards, told me, everything was great and, everything looked great. I haven't rushed into anything, and I believe he hasn't either. So I'm not really sure if he has spoken with anyone or not, but I have not so far. Mm-hmm. I've just been, enjoying the time right now with my family and just kind of laying low right now.
Mm-hmm. I see. I was just checking. Maybe we could get some breaking news.
No, not yet. No, I can't tell you anything yet like that. So
okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Now, obviously, it was a very dominant win for you, and a lot of people were surprised by the way that he really didn't have any offense. Like, you just got on him, and he was all defensive, and then eventually you choked him out there. So, was there anything in the fight that you didn't like? Is there anything in the fight that went wrong for you? Is there anything in that fight that you can look at, okay, this needs to get better, I need to improve on that? Anything at all?
Well, I mean, there's always room for improvement. Like, I didn't... the time kind of cut in on that this time. My last fight with Hunter Tucker, I felt really confident going into the fight. And then once I had gotten out there, I had done some, really a few mistakes that I definitely had changed and looked at. But this fight went so quickly that, went straight to my game plan, like that forward pressure. Anything that he throws at me, I was either going to level change and come back in with punches, or level change and come back in with a takedown. And the takedown just happened to be there right off the bat. And then, maybe some more striking on top, make it a little more exciting. But honestly, I was completely pleased with the performance and just how everything came in. So, not too much really, but definitely there's always room for improvement. I've only not even 2 years into my pro career yet, so definitely going to be seeing some more improvement.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you know the choke was really tight? Because obviously you were trying to get your leg free. You kept kneeing him in the thigh to try to free one of your legs, but then all of a sudden he taps. So did you think he had it on real tight?
Yeah, well, as soon as I locked it in, I was like, I felt my arm sink into his neck, like underneath his chin, and so I knew the choke was tight. And but really, I thought he was going to let go of half guard and try to bridge into me, to defend it. And then he kept locking. He locked my leg down. Obviously, you saw it. And then once I caught him with those knees, I felt the choke get even a little tighter. So I finished that choke in half guard, plenty of times. So I was confident that I would keep it. And really, I was, expecting him to bridge into me and just, turn into a scramble. And whenever he locked down half guard after I threw the knees, I felt the choke set in a little tighter, so I went in for that shoulder pressure just to squeeze the choke a little bit. And once I did that, I could really feel that arm being pushed into his throat. So that's when I knew I had it finished.
Mm-hmm. You're 9-0 with 9 stoppages. You haven't even seen a third round in your MMA career as a professional. What is there? What's to that? I've noticed this pattern where you haven't seen the third round yet, and you've never been to the judges' scorecards. Is that just you not being, able to allow the fight to be in the hands of someone else? Is that what it is?
Well, 100% that I don't want the fight to be in someone else's hands. I mean, it's my career. It's, I'm putting the work in. I want to finish the fight if I get the opportunity. And, it's not like I'm scared to go to the third round. It's not, whatever, if it goes to the judges, I'm going to work no matter what. So if it goes into a decision, I'm going to be working until the bell rings. So most of the time, that's good enough to get a finish, because a lot of times guys aren't going to put that effort in the whole fight that I will, because I'm going to go until I get a finish, or I'm going to go until the bell rings either way, and until someone stops me.
Mm-hmm. Now, is that more just personal preference? You just don't want it to be in the hands of somebody else, or is it because of the way the judges are nowadays, with them not really being educated at all in the sport? Maybe there's someone who comes from boxing, doesn't really know the ground game, or someone who's comes from the striking who doesn't, or comes from the ground who doesn't know the striking. There's a lot of judges out there who are grapplers who are asking if leg kicks hurt, like some crazy nonsense like this. Is that the reason why?
It's definitely I think if you're not scared to go to the judges, then you honestly just don't care about your career. Like, you should be scared to death, no matter how dominant of a performance you've had and how much you think you've done. You can never be too sure about it, because you really don't know what the judges are seeing. You don't know, what their strong points are, what they feel like is winning the fight. So going into a decision, I would be scared to death, just because, even if I had a strong performance, and I think most fighters are. I think some people get comfortable with the way they're controlling fights and don't want to, lose control and go for a submission, or they don't want to lose control and throw strikes. Whereas, I'm going to go 100% nonstop, even if I feel like I'm slowly losing something. I'm just going to go on to the next thing. So, my style is the same when I'm training. Also, I like to go for the finish anytime I can get it. So, I train like that all the time, and always looking for a finish for sure. And then, just going to the decision, that would scare me to death. But, going hard to the door is, why I haven't been in the third. And, it's not like something I don't plan on, not getting a decision or not sitting on my feet. It's just that's the way the fights have went so far.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, you're 9-0, and so you're an undefeated fighter. There's that old saying out there, you learn more from your losses than you do from your wins. And I mean, that's a good question. I like to ask it a lot, but it doesn't really apply to everybody because, there's guys like you who are undefeated. So, since you haven't tasted defeat yet, what are some things that you've learned from your wins in your career?
But, it's not like I feel like maybe if you've won everything you've done in your entire life and you've never lost in anything, then maybe that would apply. But everybody's lost. Everybody's lost something. Like if it's if you're doing sprints at the end of practice, or if you're competing in other sports before MMA or whatever it is. Like I've lost in wrestling. I've lost in my amateur career. I had my very last amateur fight, I lost it. And, learning from a loss, it's great and everything, but it's not like right now I'm not so confident in my style. I'm still constantly learning and constantly working on everything I can possibly get. And, I'm not turning down any chance to learn. So I don't really feel like I need a loss to learn and to, become a better fighter. I'm doing that right now on my own, trying to, I'm not letting up on my stand-up. I'm still working on my wrestling, still working on my jiu-jitsu. I'm still working on everything. So definitely, I don't feel like I have to have a loss to learn. But I definitely, maybe there is room for improvement when you do lose. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you're an undefeated fighter, a lot of people look at your record and be like, you know what, he hasn't been tested, he hasn't been in a tough fight. But that's not exactly true. You have had tough fights. What do you consider your toughest fight? Do you consider it the Luna fight, or do you consider it the Hunter Tucker fight, or do you consider it another fight on your record? What do you consider your toughest fight?
Yeah, I actually just answered this question not too long ago. But the Hunter Tucker, going into it, I thought that was going to be my toughest challenge because he was so well-rounded. I knew that he had really good grappling and really good stand-up. He's a good counter-puncher or counter-striker. So. Going into that fight mentally, that was my hardest preparation, I think, and but definitely a fight that not a lot of people have seen and heard about is the Lewis Luna fight. But going into the first, I had a real dominant takedown, and I was on top of him, working real well, and I accidentally threw a knee because he was doing a touch game where he's sticking his hand down and doing all that, and then I threw a knee, caught him with the illegal knee, so the referee broke us apart. And I went back in to apologize to him to say, sorry to touch gloves with him. And he came over the top with the overhand right. He, kind of faked me out and caught me with the overhand right and got the fight. He got the fight in his favor for sure. He rocked me, knocked me to the ground, and then I had to survive the whole first because I went in to touch gloves with him. And then going into the second, I came back out and took him down and finished the fight with the armbar. But just surviving that fight and being put in that position has definitely been the toughest fight so far.
I see. Now, you fought twice for Bellator in your young career here. You mentioned earlier you've only been professional for 2 years, so you've already had 2 fights under their banner. Is that possible? Is that something that you're open to, going to Bellator again?
No. Right now I'm sticking with Legacy. They treat me well. They've done everything for me to help me get to where I'm at, and they've been there for me early in my career. So the Bellator, no, I'm not. It's not something that I plan on at all. I'm fighting Legacy right now, and then whatever happens after that is going to be great. But I don't feel like I need to go back down to the level like Bellator.
Okay.
I think I need to keep rising up and keep fighting tough opponents.
Mm-hmm. I see. Well, I was just curious about that because, the UFC, they're watching Legacy and those shows like that, but World Series of Fighting and Bellator are too. They're trying to steal guys, right? Maybe the UFC doesn't have an opening.
Yeah, they might have an opening or whatever. I just want to fight the toughest guys, and I feel like, Legacy, fighting guys in Legacy, fighting guys in UFC is going to be a lot tougher challenge in the end.
Mm-hmm. And wherever you go, you're going to find tough guys because 145 worldwide is stacked everywhere. Legacy, McMahon will find you somebody to fight. There's no doubt
definitely.
About that.
I mean, it definitely is. It's a tough division, and even if I chose to go up to lightweight, it's still going to be tough all around. It's one of the two best classes out there, and that might be something I look at in the future going to lightweight. But right now, I'm definitely sticking at 45 as long as I can. As long as my body can handle it.
Mm-hmm. Just curious, what do you walk around at normally?
About 70, and if I don't have a fight, I'm walking around about 70. Once I figure out I have a fight, or get about a month out, I walk around about 65.
I see. Yeah, that's why those weight divisions are so stacked, because I think the average man is like only 170 pounds. I think that like the worldwide average. So that everyone always wonders, why is 155 and 145 always stacked? It's because the average man, a guy who's 165, 170 wouldn't be in the NFL. He wouldn't be playing hockey or something. So that's why those weight divisions are stacked. Everyone always asks, why are those divisions so stacked? But that's the reason. So I was just curious about what you walk around at. Yeah. So I'm just curious. I've interviewed a couple of the Legacy champions, but I always keep forgetting to ask them this question. That belt, it looks very heavy. Is it very heavy? I got to know this. Is it pretty heavy?
It definitely is. It's a well-made belt, and it fits real nice around my waist, and I enjoy wearing it. Don't wear it out in public a lot because it'll start pulling on my lower back and stuff. So it definitely is a well-built belt, and it's definitely heavy. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Now, is it Velcro in the back, or does it have snaps?
No, it has a Velcro strap on it.
Okay, I see. Now, is that your first professional title?
Yes, I had an amateur title. I had 2 amateur titles, and then going into, I haven't really even thought about belts. It's not something that I don't want to walk around it's not something that I've thought a whole lot about. That the Legacy fighting for that number 1 spot. I just want to be the best guy out there. I want people to realize that I'm the best guy in Legacy. At featherweight. So I've been wanting to get that belt for a long time, and it means a lot to have that. It's more about being the number 1 person at that weight class than it is the actual belt. Like walking around with a belt or anything like that. So.
I see. Damon, how did you get your nickname, the Leech?
Man, everybody asks me that. It's so funny. That got the nickname from wrestling. Just my wrestling, my top game was always there. And at Missouri Valley, we were doing some drills and stuff like that, and then going into some live wrestling. And I was having some problems with my feet. And then once we went top bottom, I was holding everyone down, and then everybody just kept saying that I was like a leech and just hanging on to everyone, and then it just kind of stuck with me after that.
Now, I saw a video online. It was you leaving the arena after you won the belt against Leonard Garcia. You were walking out, and it looked like you had a very big crowd waiting for you. Just how many tickets did you sell for this fight?
I sold, in hand, around, it was 330 to 350. I can't remember the exact number, but it was in between 330 and 350 in hand, and then I sold. I don't even know. I'm not even sure. I never got the number of how many I sold online. But I always have a huge crowd following me, and those are just the people that I know from my hometown in King. And the crowd was crazy, and then they all after my fights, they always want to see me and always want to talk to me afterwards. And it seems like there's always something going on. And that since I was the last fight that night, everybody was just kind of waiting on me outside. So it was a big surprise seeing everyone together in a group like that. So definitely have a huge following with me from my hometown in home state Oklahoma, and then going all the way up into Missouri and down in Texas now.
Mm-hmm. Now, how far is Allen, Texas, from where you live?
From where I live, it was only 10 miles. But from where I grew up, it was about 45 minutes.
Oh, I see. I was just curious about that because, like I mentioned, that video, you had a very big crowd. Now, I'm curious, you win the belt, and then like 12 hours later, you're back in the gym already helping other guys. Is that because, you're an instructor at the gym, or is it just because, you suffered no damage and you just wanted to get back after it?
I had so many people preparing me for this fight that, every fight I try to get back to the gym as soon as I can, because I don't want to, spend a lot of time now, because I want to, keep this career, or keep my fights going the way they're going right now. And so I just want to stay busy as I can, and definitely it helps out not taking damage in my fight. So it is something that, if I had any kind of injury, I wouldn't, push myself to get back in the gym early. It was just, we have Matt Hobart fighting on the August 23rd card up in Tulsa for UFC Fight Night 46, I believe, or maybe 47. Right. Matt Hobart's fighting on the card, so, he definitely needs guys in there at, 135, 145 pushing him, so I wanted to, make sure that I'm still helping him out.
Just curious, when do you want to be back fighting in the cage?
I am ready today, right now. I'm keeping my weight down. I ate bad for a day, went off my diet for a day, and I'm back on my diet today and going back in the training today. Just going to take it easy. I'm not going to do any live rounds or anything, but definitely I'm ready to get back in it mentally and physically as soon as possible. I'm ready for another fight.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you had to put money down on it right now, where would your next fight be? Would it be in Legacy defending the featherweight belt, or would it be in the UFC?
Man, I would love to fight to defend the belt, or to, I said this, a couple of times. I just want to fight the best guys that I can fight, and if that means defending the belt, if that means fighting the UFC or fighting whatever it is, I want to fight the best guys. And, I'm ready to fight now. I'm healthy mentally. I'm ready to go. I have a lot going for me right now. I'm mentally pretty strong right now. So definitely, I would fight anything. I wouldn't say one or the other, really. I would defend the belt, or I would step up and, fight a day's notice in the UFC, or, whatever it is.
Damon, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Yeah, I have a lot of hometown sponsors that, some guys who've been helping me out from the beginning. Greg C. at Medical Center Pharmacy in Durant, Greg Cross at Indian Nation also in Durant, and then Mike Heron at Cold Car Sales. These guys have been with me from the beginning of my pro career and really helped me out a lot, and make sure that I get the training full time. So without these guys, it would be hard to be where I'm at right now, and I want to thank them. And give a shout out to my gym at Rocky MMA and Coach Sayasad, just really put me in the position. He put me in the position to fight for the belt. That was our goal as soon as I came to the gym, was to give me that belt and then move forward after that. So, give a shout out to him for sure.
Damon, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. And once again, congratulations on becoming Legacy Featherweight Champion.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate the coverage also. Thank you.